What is happening, GumboNation? Hey, welcome to this week's, Knowledge is Power, weekly update, state of the market, whatever we're calling it. Hey, give us a show name and give me a good weekly podcast name. Hey, I'll send you $100. So, hey, on the show today, a couple things. Today is a public service announcement. So joining me shortly is going to be the queen of insurance. A lot's going on with insurance, so I've got some questions because my clients are calling me, asking me what the heck is going on. So who better than the queen to get in here to spend some time to kind of address what the heck is going on in Louisiana with these agents and agencies and all that. So she'll be joining us in a second. Poor girl, her and her team, they've been absolutely, they've been sleeping here at the office. So with that said, wanted to kind of get with you to talk about a few things. And let me kind of show you on a graph what I think is good news. So check this out here. We see our little area, right? Louisiana right here, Mississippi, the Gulf Coast. Check all that out right there. So what I'm looking at there is overvalued, normal, or undervalued, right? Well, we're seeing a lot of our area is overvalued. And I'm going to tell you in a second why this is a good thing and really what your approach needs to be right now when buying a home and what we're doing for our clients that's absolutely maximizing their impact and keeping money in their pocket. So as you can see right now, hey, this here is showing that overvalued. Now, check this out. Enough of this is going on that they saw fit to show it here to put in place. Check this out. Shares of homes with sales price drops in April. Baton Rouge, 31% of homes had price drops. In New Orleans, 31% of homes. As you could see, that's some of the highest in the entire country. So what does that mean? If you're a buyer, that means opportunities are starting to present themselves. Okay? That is a good thing. They don't give you what's the average price that it was dropped, but you know what? It's a price drop. Does it mean that the median sales prices are down? No, houses are still gaining. They're still getting more equity, but maybe some of these overvalued homes like we showed are now coming back down to a little bit more reality. So what's causing that? Well, a little bit of the interest rate, right? But I can tell you, rates now, what we're seeing, people are starting to adjust and understand that, hey, these are the rates right now. So you mix that with people having an understanding, and then you add on top of that opportunities now with price drops, and guess what, buyers? You're seeing a little bit more of an advantage. So what I want to mention to you before we get to Colette is why this is a public service announcement. And I want you to understand, realtors and buyers, I repeat, realtors and buyers, do not go in and ask for a reduced price versus seller paid closing cost. Okay? So when you're negotiating right now, you already see prices are dropping. And the sellers have a bottom line they have to get to. So what your goal has to be is let's keep money in your pocket where we can use and maybe make the rate a little bit lighter. And I'll show you an example on that this weekend, on this weekend show. I was going to do it today, but I thought it was much more important that we got Colette into the studio to talk to y'all about the insurance stuff. So what I mean by that is this. Realtors, I'm looking at you. Learn what seller-paid closing cost options are per product, per loan-to-value. That is important. Very important. We know that as many of you who sell houses or you represent a buyer, you also do listings. You know that there's a bottom line. For the client, for the buyer, it's much more important get them seller-paid closing costs versus a price reduction. And again, I'll show you this weekend, or maybe I'll come back and kind of give you a graphic to show you how many years it takes to make up that money. Okay? We know that it's a challenging market, so right now we need everybody to win. So let the seller get their number, but our buyer wins as well. Buyers, for you, listen, It's very simple. Home ownership, it's why it's called the American dream. It's the best feeling out there. And you need to make sure that you know and demand that you have a team, whether it's me, realtors, or whoever, that is working for you. You're the boss here, buyers. Okay? We have the total home authority, but you want to make sure that you have a team that is working for you. So seller-paid closing costs is very important. So now is not the time for you to give someone a chance when you're making your most valuable purchase, your biggest investment that you're ever going to make in your life. So I want you to tune in. We'll also put it out there. There's also some other things. We now have a new spot on mortgagegumbo.com. Click resources. We're updating stuff there. You can go to snapsendandsave.com. Click on services. We have a free credit report you can get. That is not a hard pull. You want to know the value of your house? How's your house doing in this market? Go complete the information. We'll give you a free housing report. So we're going to give you the tools to stay up to date. But I'll get back to you and show you again why you need seller-paid closing costs versus purchase price reduction. So I'll share that later. With that being said, hey, glad to be able to bring in, stepping in with me right now into studio is Miss Colette Biedenkopf. How are you doing, ma'am?
Am I mic'd up?
You are mic'd up. We're not even worried about, let me see something. Yeah, no, you probably don't, but go ahead. There you go.
Okay, I feel like a celebrity
There you go.
speaking
You are-
with the
you
microphone today.
Yes, you are a rock star. So look, everything. I'm getting all these calls. A NOLA article came out, and y'all knew about it a while back, but came out saying that 13,000 policies have been added to Louisiana's insurer of last resort, and as private insurers falter and retreat. So people are calling going, oh, my God. I sent 3 different people over today to y'all because they're like, what's going on? Premiums are going up. Some of this is the FEMA 2.0 that we talked about a while back. But tell us, what does this mean right now? What's going on with insurance, and what does this mean when they say policies are being canceled?
Okay, so think of this where the large majority of homeowner carriers in our area were from regional markets, not national markets. So those companies wrote the coastal areas of the state, and they all had forecasting models, right, for catastrophes. And so what has occurred is that no one forecasted the number and severity of storms to hit the coastal areas in 18 months, and also a freeze event that occurred in the early months of 2021. So if you are, say, saving money for the potential of a catastrophe, you are forecasting monies out there for catastrophes, just not 4 or 5 of them in 18 months. So what's happened is the carriers that have exhausted all reserves, all additional insurances that they paid for, policies for to protect them, they've exhausted all of those funds. And so as a result, we saw at least 4 of our regional carriers have to go into receivership, which means you're taken over. The claims are taken over by LIGO, which is Louisiana Guarantee Association. And some of those companies that exhausted all of their monies, they were purchased by other insurance companies. So that was a good thing for customers that had policies with Americas, with Access, and there was another one I can't think of at the moment. Now, the latest hammer that has come through is Lighthouse Excalibur, was one of those companies that was, they had a bigger reserve, let's say. So they were not deemed insolvent when America's Access Home and the other ones were. But as the IDA claims, let's just say, started to calculate in an upward tick,
Put them over the top.
it put them over the top. So what we had was the Department of Insurance had to then declare them insolvent, so that all of the rest of the claims that needed to be paid from IDA would now be paid by LIGA. Okay, so that's one thing. I have an open claim. I still have damage. I have recoverable depreciation, but Lighthouse doesn't have any more money to pay me. Well, now you're going to be paid by LIGA. So that's one factor to where claims are being handled. But then what happened was no one else had the capital to purchase the policies that Lighthouse Excalibur had. So think about this.
To.
Well, no one has
To this point.
the reserves to purchase that.
Okay.
Okay. So last Thursday, a week ago, we were notified that all current policies with Lighthouse and Excalibur, because they're a combined company, were going to be canceled June 22nd. So in my agency alone, we probably have about 140 customers that are at risk for no coverage going into hurricane season, and now we have 20 days to find them new policies. Now, that's fortunate in a sense for my clients, because we have other companies that are writing in our area, but they're very few and they're very expensive. So you are going to see that we're trying our best to find the most competitive price for the Lighthouse customers.
But are we, so let me stop you there.
Yeah.
So because I know you were talking 140 something customers, like $400,000-$500,000 in premium.
Yeah.
Which is bananas to think about. So one question I got today, any of these insurances, when you're flipping these properties, is there any kind of waiting period or anything like that on that? Because one lady called today and said that she was told if she switched, there was going to be a 30-day waiting period.
There are no 30-day waiting periods. There's no waiting periods.
The reason why I'm asking that is
on homeowners.
Right. So what about any kind of that's what we're dealing with right now as homeowners, right? Or is flood also being affected? Like
flood is not being affected in a sense where people are without coverage.
And all that, right? Okay.
This is strictly it's almost a panic mode going on in our agency, because we are reaching out to our clients, some of which who we haven't gotten a hold of yet, but we're trying to say, hey, you may not have even gotten it in the mail yet to tell you that your policy's canceling June 22nd. We need to get you on the phone. We need to verify you have the same mortgage company so we can bill that to the mortgage company. We want to make sure did you get a new roof in IDA or Zeta, because we want to get you a credit for having a new roof put on your home, which reduces the premium. We needed update information, because some folks we haven't talked to in 3 years because their renewals
just went through.
Just were paid by their mortgage company, and they didn't really see a rate increase, so there was no reason to switch companies.
So what are we I mean, look, I'll just ask straight up. I mean, because I know this is what everybody wants to know. Mm-hmm. I mean, if all these people keep going insolvent, receivership, whatever BS it's called, where are we at? I mean, is there a possibility that all these companies bail and we're left with, just like in flood, the FEMA option with this LIGA or whatever it's called? I mean, who's responsible to go out and get, if I've got an investor that's not doing a job for me, I go get somebody else so I can offer my clients the best things.
Correct. So
what happened?
Okay,
What's
right now, if you ask me today, we are flooding the open insurance carriers with the rollovers from Lighthouse
But how
Excalibur.
many are we down to, I guess, is more my question.
Okay, so let's say South Shore for, let's go St. Bernard, Orleans, Jefferson. Okay, right now I have one.
One carrier.
One.
So so you're not even south. All right, so North Shore, what are you looking at?
We have three.
South Mississippi.
Mississippi really isn't impacted by this.
Great. So
that's good news.
move to Mississippi.
Move to Mississippi.
So this is basically, and I know it doesn't matter because we've had this conversation when you've been on the show before. My mindset is there was a lot of years they didn't have to pay out premiums. So is there going to be a change to this where almost the Fed did with the banks, where they're going to be required to show?
Well, one of the
so much
Jim
money?
Jim Donelon has mentioned this. I don't know where it is in actual practice.
Hey, if anybody knows Jim Donelon, I would love to have him on Mortgage Gumbo. I think
Right.
I would love to have him come talk about this. As one of the biggest lenders in this state, I have as many clients probably as most people out there. If anybody out there, please have Jim Donelon so we can chat and kind of just, yeah, I'm sure he wants to ease the burden. I can imagine what his phones are like.
Well, I want to go back to answer the question, was that any new company that wants to write in our state would have to have a certain number, let's say, of cash on hand, right, to even apply.
Gotcha. Which is good.
So he is trying
to. Insurance can't just come in, start writing policies.
Right. They have to have a substantial amount of their own cash. But think of this. We are in a super high risk area coastally,
Yeah.
okay, for storm damage.
By the way, there's storms out there right now.
I am not saying the H word
Right.
while I'm on this podcast.
Right.
So, point being is that you need to be deliberate about the companies you want to market to come here to write. Meaning you want them to have a substantial financial portfolio to handle and weather storms.
So they don't bail when the going gets tough. They're
But
still here.
and let's go back to bailing, okay? I want to take America's specifically because we did insure a lot of our properties with them. They were doing the things that are prudent to be, financially able to weather catastrophes.
Okay.
They were purchasing additional insurance on top of their own money to make sure that they had enough capital to pay out claims. But then I'm going to revert back to no one in their modeling could have forecasted Laura, Delta, Zeta, Ida, and a freeze to happen in 18 months.
Look,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I also sort of disagree because me, from the lender standpoint, that's why all the big names, Movement, Loan Depot, Rocket, all these guys are laying people off left and right, and we're not, and we're growing even though things have changed. You know why? Because to me, it's about planning. So to me, it would start at the top. With CEOs, but it is what it is.
But it's
now.
not so much CEOs or financial people. These are the literally you go out and hire. If I'm an insurance company, a company that basically does modeling forecasting for you. They produce documentation for you to make decisions on. If you are given information of forecasting and you are modeling according to the forecasting that you paid somebody to do.
Well, maybe they need to update their spreadsheet.
Well, exactly. So now,
this is the worst case scenario.
the discussion is now like whatever the modeling you have, multiply it by 3.
Right.
Because again,
that's a good point. And
what I'm saying is it wasn't complete, like, just.
My thing is, I would want to know those
what is
CEOs
the word?
I know what you're saying.
Meaning they were using the information that they had to do they're forecasting and reserving for.
I would just love to know where those were, and I would wonder, where are all those folks at that are leaving us high and dry? We now got to pay higher premiums because they didn't plan, they didn't forecast. All those CEOs on their yacht right now.
Well, no,
while we're raising
let me tell you this:
$2,000
they
a year.
they do forecast worst case scenarios.
Yeah.
Okay, they forecast it, and it's okay if you have those occur because they're forecasted in the model. The issue was the consecutive.
I get it.
The consecutive catastrophes that back to back to back to back. There you go.
How close are we from being down to one insurer?
We're very close.
Are we a hurricane away?
If we had another storm that hit our coastline this season, it would be
Insurance of last resort.
It would be LA Citizens. Now, something that LA Citizens can do, if they get too many policies, they can roll them out into any of the other companies that are still licensed in the state to.
They can sell them off.
They sell them off, exactly. So they have to push them out because LA Citizens wasn't built to be the only insurer in the coastal area, of Louisiana.
So they'll be able to offer those premiums at least, right? Like if they're selling it off to somebody, or somebody can Dwayne go buy LA's premiums?
You have to be an admitted carrier already writing in the state. So we have plenty of those, but they're not writing new business.
Right. So they'll sit here and
okay. So they're trying to do.
Yeah, they'll sit back and go, yeah, go write it, and then I'll buy what I want.
Well, the problem is that they are looking at, hey, we have X number in reinsurance.
Yeah.
We have X number in our cash flow. And if we do get another storm, it would deplete all of that right now.
Right.
So we're not going to write new policies. We're not going to take on additional exposures until we get through this hurricane season because we'll be able to pay the claims if we do have one.
All right.
So that's what's going on.
I hear your phone ringing. I know it's crazy. Colette, you are the queen. You're the greatest. Hey, if you want to get in touch with Colette, the queen, her and her team, they work in late nights. Get your answers. Find out if anybody can reduce your premiums. But more importantly, make sure you're still properly covered and being covered the right way, right? The return of your money is more important than the return on your money. And I think that goes with insurance as well. Make sure that the premiums, that if they're going up, your coverage isn't being reduced and you get it the right way. And my thoughts are, hey, it's worth a phone call, 985-951-2070, and reach out to them. And, hey, have them check your policy for you. And if they say you're in good shape, awesome. If not, then you get in a better situation. So
yes.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
That's for sure.
Thank you, Dwayne.
All right, no problem at all. So, hey, appreciate it, folks. That's this week. Look, I'm gonna put together for you. We'll get into this weekend talking a little bit more about how to calculate and why. Again, this is a public service announcement. Realtors and buyers get seller-paid closing costs versus reduction on the purchase price. If you need to know what those seller-paid closing costs are, reach out to me. Send me an email at info@mortgagegumbo.com. Now's not the time to be embarrassed. And let's take advantage. Hey, it's starting to turn in your favor. This is a good thing. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Mortgage Gumbo, Saturdays, 9 and 1 on 99.5 WRNO, iHeartRadio app, or 1150 WJBO at 12 o'clock in Baton Rouge. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.